Natália chegou. Me ligaram. Aí caiu. Polícia. Dona Natália chegou. Achei uma moeda aqui no top 106. Que ela ainda não tá listada na Binance. É a XDC Network. Ela tá no CoinMarketCap, ela tá salva em mais de 111 mil listas de observação. No último ano, ela bateu R$ 1. Hoje ela tá 26 centavos. Ela bateu R$ 1 em agosto do ano passado. Então é um fácil 4x aí no seu dinheiro. Fácil, 4 vezes. Ganho de 400% aí, fácil. Você compra por 26, que ela tá hoje. Se ela bater R$ 1 de novo, se não, quando, né? Porque é um projeto que tá na top 100 e ainda não foi listado na Binance. Como assim? Tá no top 100 e ainda não tá na Binance. Por quê? Vou até pesquisar por quê. Tem 37 milhões, 37 bilhões, 12 bilhões disponível. Cara, eu vou entrar nela, velho. Só que pra entrar nela tem que ser pela Gate. Que não tá na Binance, lógico. E a Gate é tão demorada, velho. Puta. Pra cair um dinheirinho na Gate. Nossa. Você manda da Binance pra lá o dólar pra comprar a moeda que não tá listada na Binance ainda. E aí o dólar demora pra chegar. Bom dia, Maria Nilzete. Melhorei. Melhorar, eu melhorei. Não vou mentir. Mas ainda tô meio baqueado. Tô com fome, preciso comer. Esperar a Natália acordar a patroa. Deixa que a Natália acorda. Caiu. Ufa, caiu. Beleza. Depois, se você for ver, consideravelmente é rápido. Só que imagina pra quem manda milhões. Ó, não passa nem Wi-Fi. Cada segundo ali você fica atualizando, não chega, não chega, não chega. José Lima Silva, tá chegando. Tá chegando uma nova sequenciada de lançamentos aí que eu tô preparando. Próximo projeto, na verdade, né? Pra quem gostou do projeto Fênix, que foi um projeto bem pessoal, assim, uma parada bem mais pessoal do que até profissional. Do pessoal pro profissional, né? Agora eu vou fazer uma parada bem comercial, bem profissionalzona mesmo, focando no mainstream. E Projeto Fênix, foi Tainara, foi Aliança, foi Ela Maltrata, foi tudo que foi lançado naquela época, aquele mix de, né? E agora eu vou fazer uma parada mais centralizada no comercial, focada numa parada mais mainstream possível, trazendo tudo que eu gosto de ritmo e acredito que funcione, combinar, né? Porque não adianta você misturar umas paradas que não combinam. Em Aliança a gente misturou o samba com o trap, ficou da hora. Vocês vão ver o que eu vou fazer, o que eu vou misturar nesse projeto agora. Inclusive, tem que pensar até no nome do projeto ainda. Eu tô em processo de criação, tirando do zero mesmo assim. Já tenho 2 músicas. Vou passar um cafezinho. Vou lá, vou lá. Porque agora só sai café descafeinado aqui em casa. Oi, neném. Arteiro. Tá bagunçando, né, sem vergonha? Tá bagunçando, né? Do jeitinho que você gosta, né? E meu amor. Pelo bagará. 319 G por dia, meu Deus. Vanilla. E. hum, hum, hum. Cigarro.
Position, and over a period of about 12 months, I'm going to start lightening up. Why do I say that is because I could take this money and I could invest this money into highly speculative bottom coins, and that might do 150x, but that's not what I want to do with the money. I want to keep the same risk profile in my portfolio. And so I'm taking that and I'm investing in probably 6-7 coins. I'm putting my money into Bitcoin. I'm putting my money into
ID 8121822793. Bota teu nome.
putting my money into Avalanche. And I'm putting my money into Thorchain. So I'm really selling 25% over of my Luna position over a period of 12 months. And I'm going to put that into safer assets. And that way, even though I really have conviction, I really have to have conviction about what's going on with Luna, I don't have the risk that one day I wake up in the morning and 60% of my portfolio has been wiped because one token has been wiped. This has made my portfolio very big. And as a result of that, I don't want to take a huge knock one day just because something happened to one token. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the responsible thing. And the responsible thing is, even if you love the token, you need to be looking at your portfolio from time to time. And you need to be rebalancing that portfolio. And that is why I'm selling some of my Luna. And I'm doing it responsibly over a period of 12 months. And I'm doing it in such a way where I'm taking that and I'm investing it into other layer one projects with similar risk profiles, not same, but similar risk profiles.
Bom dia, Natália.
Bom dia, tudo bem?
Tudo bom?
Passei um café, você quer?
Ah, passou?
Passei, você quer?
Passou descafeinado ou não?
Não,
Normal? Demorou. Vou pegar lá. Vou fazer um pão também. Calma aí, tropinha. Calma aí, tropinha. Botei. Ai! Peguei um chazinho topper. Peguei um chazinho topper, família. Peguei um chazinho topper. Eu ia mostrar que eu tô comendo, mas não deu. Porque tá conectado no cabo. Eu tô comendo banana amassada com paçoca e castanha. Essa castanha de caju ou é castanha do Pará? Vocês estão tudo doido. Um falando que é de caju, outro falando que é de Pará. Me confundindo mais ainda. Gente, castanha de caju e castanha do Pará são totalmente diferentes. Quando bate o olho já dá pra saber qual que é. Aqui tá com banana. Gente, vocês não chegam num consenso. Tô ficando doido. É do Pará ou de caju? Vocês estão é doido. Eu vou parar de ler esses comentários que eu tô ficando maluco. Eu, hein? Cada um fala uma coisa, velho. Ah lá. Meu Deus. Ó, agora eu tô falando que é mais do Pará. Tael Pietra. Caju, Tael Pietra. Meu Deus. Quem mais falou? Ah lá, ó. Agora eu só vejo Pará. Ah lá. Sei lá, velho. Vocês estão me deixando doido. Eu sou do Pará e é do Pará. Ai, meu... Nossa, hoje eu não vou nem aparecer no Instagram. Porque ontem eu já postei story lá falando da vacina. Aí deixa o povo achar que eu tô doente hoje. E eu tô doente. Ai, ai, ai. Ai, ai, ai. Mas eu tô chateado essa semana, família, com uma parada. Uma parada relacionada aos trampos. Que me deixou bem chateado. A gente lançou o clipe de Meu Som no Radinho. E eu coloquei a mesma campanha de anúncios que eu coloquei em questão de tempo. Eu também coloquei em Meu Som no Radinho. Só que a questão rodou legal em questão de tempo, andou legal. O clipe bateu mais de 100 mil. Só que pra Meu Som no Radinho, a campanha não foi aprovada. Porque o conteúdo foi visto como explícito pelo YouTube. Acho que por conta do cigarrinho que tinha lá e tal. Enfim. E aí não rodou a campanha de anúncio, que era pra rodar em Meu Som no Radinho. E aí o clipe ficou só no orgânico. Não teve o tráfego pago. Enfim, por conta disso, a gente perdeu o timing do lançamento, né? E agora a gente tá tentando consertar a campanha. E pode ser que a campanha seja aceita, mas pediram 72 horas ontem, então ainda falta mais 2 dias. para eles responderem se a campanha ainda vai rodar ou não, né? O time do Google, que eu tenho um escritório fazendo isso, eu não tô fazendo sozinho, não tô fazendo a zóio. É a galera da Rocambole que faz pra mim o selo Rocambole. E enfim, a gente tá esperando aprovarem a campanha de ads que a gente tá fazendo pro clipe de Meu Som no Radinho, porque não aprovou. Aprendizado, a próxima vez. Tem que saber se o conteúdo é explícito ou não pra colocar na campanha. Mas a gente não achou que fosse cair como conteúdo explícito só por causa daquele cigarrinho ali. Puta, cara. Tinha que ter feito uma campanha pra conteúdo explícito. Enfim, a gente vai consertar isso, vai ver se a campanha vai rodar nesse mesmo vídeo. A gente mandou rodar, o escritório já rodou uma campanha nova, a gente vai ver se o Google vai aceitar nesse mesmo vídeo, ou se a gente vai ter que subir o vídeo de novo e rodar uma campanha agora para conteúdo explícito direto, né, desde o lançamento. Enfim, é coisinha que acontece, mas foda, né? O trabalho tava numa constante muito foda. 100 mil em questão de tempo. A gente ia bater muito mais em Meu Som no Radinho com essa campanha que tava programada. Só que aí, enfim, a gente faz tudo perfeito, a gente tá com dinheiro pra fazer o investimento, a gente tá com tudo em mãos. E aí dá problema com o quê? Com a porra do Google. Vou te falar, cara, dá pra entender, de vez em quando é tanta coisa assim que às vezes, coisas improváveis, sabe? Mas tantas coisas que tentam te desanimar e tentam te jogar pra baixo e te deixar meio que sem muito ânimo de seguir em frente, sabe? Tipo, sei lá, às vezes dá vontade de, porra, sei lá, pegar todo esse dinheiro que eu invisto em música porque eu amo e começar a investir em outras paradas, tá ligado? Pra ter resultados mais, sei lá, reais, que eu possa esperar, resultado que eu possa esperar, que eu não dependa de uma música andar ou não, que eu não dependa de, sabe, de um anúncio rodar direito, uma campanha ou não. Pô, você faz maior investimento, tá ligado? Pro conteúdo todo, clipe, gravação da música. Pô, você queima mó cartucho foda, que é uma música. E a campanha não roda, tá ligado? Tipo, como assim, velho? Como assim? Dá pra entender de vez em quando, assim, umas coisas. Bizarro, bizarro, bizarro. Clipe que era pra estar aí chegando perto de 500 mil, se Deus quiser. Se o bagulho tivesse rodado. Se Deus quisesse, não, né? Se Deus quisesse, já era pra estar com milhões, trilhões. É o tempo dele. Mas também é o tempo nosso. E a gente tem que ser consistente. O que cabe a nós é ser consistente. Nosso tempo é ser consistente. Esse é o nosso tempo. Dar o nosso máximo o tempo todo. Esse é o nosso tempo. E aí a gente depende só do tempo de Deus, mano. Porque o nosso tempo a gente tem que chegar junto. O que depende de nós, na verdade, né? Enfim, mas se a campanha tivesse rodado, já era uma garantia de um progresso fudido no projeto do Kailê. Um puta progresso no projeto do Kailê. Entendeu? Enfim. E aí a gente fica chateado, porque, porra, é a mesma campanha que rodou em questão de tempo e ia rodar em Meu Som no Radinho. Quer dizer, não a mesma campanha, né? Cada lançamento é uma campanha. Mas é o mesmo escritório, tipo, mesma galera tava fazendo a campanha. Era praticamente já garantido que ia rodar direito, que a gente ia ter no primeiro mês aí quase 500 mil de views. Isso não é robô, tá ligado? Não é robô. Isso aí é tráfego pago, é anúncio do Google Ads. A gente cria, estuda audiência, enfim, o escritório é um puta de um trabalho a ser feito, cara. Tá ligado? E a galera da Rocambole nem tá pegando mais selo nenhum pra cuidar, só pegaram a cash, porque, enfim, hyparam na situação do canal, o trampo do Kailê, eu, Thaís. Gostaram muito assim do que é a cash e vieram junto, entendeu? E é um puta trabalho que é feito, família. Não, gente, não é falta de fé, não é falta de confiar em Jesus, não é nada disso não, meu. É só que desanima, né? É uma parada, era um resultado meio que garantido que a gente já ia ter, que a gente tava contando pra desenvoltura do projeto todo, enfim. Tá ligado? É. Confio muito em Deus, inclusive sou muito grato a Deus pelos views que tem lá, tá ligado? Você é louco? Mas é um trabalho que tá sendo feito, não é? A gente não tava contando com sorte, a gente não tava contando com fé, tá ligado? Tipo, a gente tava contando com aquele resultado que a gente pagou pra ter, basicamente. Falando português claro, tá ligado? E não teve. Foda. Mas isso vai fazer parte da história, a gente vai lembrar disso. Puta, mano, lembra? Caralho, aquele advance que a gente tinha conseguido pro Kylie. A gente botou o maior dinheiro no clipe, no pá, não rodou, queimou largada. Caraca, o anúncio não foi aprovado. Puta, lembra, mano? Caralho. Eu acredito nisso, mano. É isso que me move, tá ligado?
That interests you guys, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Okay, so what is Anchor and how does it already have $14 billion in total value locked in just 1 year from launch? Well, simply put, it's a decentralized savings protocol that is paying you close to 20% to lend or give them a stable coin called UST. And I know what you're thinking, 20%? That sounds way too good to be true. And you're probably right, so let's dive in. All right, first, in order to understand Anchor, you need to understand what Terra Labs, the team behind Anchor, has built with this revolutionary stablecoin blockchain. Essentially, the founders are these really smart dudes from Stanford and Wharton that saw a huge problem in the stablecoin space, which is all these stablecoins you see today. So USDT, USDC, and BUSD are all controlled by centralized companies, meaning these companies can essentially do whatever they want with your funds, and if one day the government orders them to freeze your assets, they theoretically can, which essentially goes against why crypto was created in the first place. It's meant to be decentralized and not owned by anybody. To solve this problem of companies having too much control, they created UST, their stablecoin, and Luna, its native token. Now, these two coins work with each other as a burn and mint mechanism to algorithmically keep UST pegged at just $1. So let me break this down even more. So let's say you and I own Luna and a bunch of people start buying UST. This is going to increase the price and push it over $1. And if you're thinking about this, that's bad, right? We want a stable coin to stay the same price, hence the name stable coin. Well, here's where the magic happens. Terra's protocol ensures its users can always trade $1 of Luna for 1 unit of UST. So if me and you own Luna and we saw that UST is trading at $1.01, we'd go ahead and swap our Luna for UST and pocket that 1 cent difference. What's going on in the background is when we swap our Luna, it actually gets burned and thrown away into the crypto galaxy, and then UST is minted for us. So if our economics courses have taught us anything, we know that when supply increases with no other external factor, this causes the price to go down, which is exactly what's going to happen to UST, meaning it's going to go back to the $1 stablecoin price point. So these two pools feeding off each other with the mining and burning of each coin, it helps the coin stay at a stable price, which is really cool if you ask me, and super unique. So now that you know about the Anchor protocol, I want to drop some numbers on you guys. Boom. Anchor currently has $8.3 billion in deposits and is currently paying around 19%, meaning Anchor is expected to pay around $1.6 billion this year. So how the heck are they going to do that, and where's all this money coming from? Well, Anchor makes its money in a few different ways. One is through the collateral that they get from the loans that they lend out. Every loan someone takes out on Anchor must be over collateralized, meaning you have to put up more or give them more than what you're borrowing in order to take out the loan. Along with the income that they get from lending to borrowers, they also take this collateral and stake it to make themselves even more money. So if I do some quick math to see how much Anchor is earning from their staking and borrowing income, it comes out to $783 million. And remember earlier in the video how I said they need to pay out $1.6 billion this year? Well, here's where the problem lies. See, Anchor used to have more income coming in than it was paying out, and it would put this money into something called a yield yield reserve, which you can think of as a big vault holding a lot of money, which is their stockpile to help them in times when their income is less than how much they need to pay out to meet that 20% threshold. Well, now that Anchor has gotten so big, the income they have coming in can't cover how much they need to pay out. So from these numbers, Anchor is currently sitting at an $816 million deficit. So that means they're pulling money out of this reserve every day to keep that 20% alive. And Anchor actually already pulled out of this reserve twice, $70 million back in July and $470 million just last month. What's even crazier is 2 weeks ago, they just announced that since the reserve is drying up so quickly, the Luna Foundation Group, so the investors behind Terra, are putting $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Yes, $1 billion into the Anchor Yields Reserve to keep that 20% APY alive. And they say this will allow Anchor's APY to sit at 20% for another year or so. Now, I know what you're probably thinking right now. Why the heck would investors be willing to do this, as it's a long-term play that may or may not pan out? See, Anchor and his investors know that once this reserve starts to dry up after that $1 billion, it's going to have to reduce the APY because obviously they just can't have that going on forever or else they'll go broke. What I'm thinking is investors are hoping that Anchor will accumulate a ton of users over the next year, and when Anchor starts to drop the percentage return, people will have gotten so accustomed to the platform and will still want the passive income even though they aren't getting paid as much. So they'll keep their money in the protocol because they're just so used to everything. Then eventually Anchor will drop its APY to a place where they'll have more money coming in than going out. And at that point, the team and investors should be making money from the project. But this bet only works if users stay as they keep lowering their percentage returns. And what from investors are saying, it looks like that's going to be the case. Now, these returns sound really nice, and with Anchor getting really hot, you need to know the risks that come with it, especially with stablecoins. Now, the biggest downfall of Anchor would be UST losing its peg, meaning not staying stable at $1. When there's a lot of market stress and selling pressure in crypto, which I think we all know there is, it puts a lot of strain on the Luna and UST burning and minting mechanism, because when both are experiencing sell pressure, it's hard for it to hold its peg at $1. If we look at the all-time chart of UST, it had 2 periods where it briefly lost its peg, then rebounded. The worst thing that can happen is if the price doesn't rebound, it spirals all the way down to $0 because that would destroy the whole entire protocol. Now, I don't think this is very likely to happen due to the backing UST now has and the daily limits on how much Luna can be minted, but with crypto, you never really know. Over the past 3 to 4 months, you guys know the crypto market has just sucked, and the UST actually performed really well and didn't deviate from its peg, which gives me confidence that the technology behind Terra is really working. Another risk that could be really vital to the protocol would be a bug in the code. Now, since DeFi runs on smart contracts, if a hacker figured out how to exploit Anchor, theoretically, they could steal a ton of people's money, just like what happened with Polygon with their $600 million hack. Nonetheless, having bugs is a risk all crypto projects face, and the CEO of Anchor said if anyone can find a bug that allows them to take $50,000 more, he'll personally give them $1 million as a reward for finding it, which is one, a total baller move, and 2, shows how confident he is with Anchor since there's been like $14 billion worth of hacks just last year alone. One thing to know with these risks is that Anchor does offer insurance for 7% of the APY through a third-party provider if there was some huge hack and you lost all your money. But I just caution you to remember that everything in crypto is highly unregulated, and even though there's an insurer, can you really ensure that you're going to get your money back if it all gets stolen? There's $8.3 billion deposited in Anchor, and I'm not so sure this third-party insurer would be able to cover even a small percentage of that. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to have your funds insured. So what's the future of Anchor, say 2 to 5 years down the road? Well, there's this really cool article written by Ryan, which I'll leave down in the description box below, who estimates Anchor's medium and long-term APY. And he thinks in the short term, so by 2024, Anchor's APY will have dropped to around 6.8%, a drastic change from today's 19%. And in the long term, he sees it sitting at around 4.8%, which in all honesty is still a heck of a deal if you're comparing this to your savings account that you get from your bank that probably gives you like 0.02% return on your money every year. So if you want to make $1,000 a month from Anchor at today's rate of about 19.44%, you need to put up around $61,700. So if you guys are interested, I would suggest doing it as soon as possible because these rates won't be here forever. Overall, I think Anchor could have a really bright future as one of the top decentralized savings account out there that a lot of people can use and earn money from. They just have to figure out a way to get past the selling pressure that they experience when yields start to fall. Like I said, I think this is a really cool project and I'd really like to see it succeed in the future. But as always, do your own research before you invest and let me know what you guys think about Anchor and its future down in the comment section below. Also, if you guys are interested in buying crypto, I suggest checking out crypto.com. They have all the top cryptos you guys would ever like to buy. So if you guys are interested, I'll leave a link to that down in the description box below as well. But I really do hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Peace.
It's not a secret for me to say that Mohamed El-Erian is more diplomatic than I am. This morning, I'm saying he's coming out swinging. You judge for yourself. His words. Its credibility eroded, the central bank appears to have a choice between risking a recession or prolonging inflation. Mohamed goes on to say, the Fed is increasingly being forced to consider those two things. Which policy mistake it wishes to be remembered for? Meeting its inflation target by causing a recession or allowing high and potentially destabilizing inflation to persist well into 2023. I'm pleased to say Mohamed can speak for himself when he joins us now. Mohamed, do you think it's that binary? One or the other?
I do, and I'm really worried about it, John.
Why is that? Why do you think there's not an optimal soft landing outcome that Jim Bullard was talking about earlier this morning?
So look what's happening in the marketplace. The whole point of forward policy guidance by the Fed is to bring along the markets in an orderly fashion. Instead, we're seeing the markets run away further from the Fed and do so in a disorderly fashion. And that is why the risk of a policy mistake is so high. When you lose credibility, you start chasing the markets, but the markets run away from you even more. And that's the dynamic we saw yesterday when Chair Powell spoke, and it's only a week after the FOMC meeting. Remember, John, the FOMC meeting was last week. We're having this dynamic now, and we're seeing it again today.
You use that phrase disorderly, that word disorderly. Mohamed, what about what you're seeing across fixed income and equity markets is disorderly?
These are massive moves, John, that come on the back of comments from the Fed chair. Yesterday, we saw massive moves. Today, we're seeing massive moves. That's what's so disorderly.
Do you think we're effectively capturing now what you think this Fed's going to have to do this year?
No, I think that if the Fed ends up validating what the market is now sort of tempting it to do, the Fed will end up breaking something in the economy. But if the Fed doesn't validate what the market has done, the Fed will not reestablish its inflation credibility. That's the lose-lose outcome that you and I have been talking about and I've been worrying about since last summer.
Can we deal with should and will and get through both those issues? What do you think they should do and what do you think they will actually do?
So I never want to be in this position, right? And that's why you heard me advocate for them to take their foot off the accelerator last year and not continue injecting liquidity into this economy until earlier this month. But now that you're in this position and you're going to end up making a mistake, which is a high probability outcome, I'd rather make a mistake of letting inflation persist than throw this economy into recession.
And what do you think they will do?
I don't know, John. They've been flip-flopping all over the place. They are now coming across as incredibly hawkish. A few weeks ago, they were coming across as incredibly dovish. So I don't really know where they are. It seems like a roller coaster right now.
Do you think that's the problem at the moment, Mohamed? As you point out, we experienced this with Chairman Powell in December. I remember that, the news conference. He said a certain range of...
We are now at $28 million. Let's see, Yvonne Michaud says, I made so much money because of you. Market Cyber, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. That's what we like to hear right there. We closed this last one for 3.179 in profit. So anyways, guys, on this account, we're up 45 ETH on Ethereum. And you saw what we're doing on Bitcoin. We've turned 4 Bitcoin into $964,000 in profit. We've made over $1 million in 5 million. There we go. There you guys see it. This is our portfolio right now.
BitSquad Traders is available on all Android devices and coming to iOS soon.
Pensa em quando e para onde será sua próxima viagem. Esquece a parte difícil.
Trampo, viu, família? Nossa, é muito número, velho.
A gente organiza tudo isso e você só fica com a parte boa. Com R$396, já dá para aproveitar um pacote desses. Você paga pouco e ainda tem tudo na mão. Quer mais o quê? Pacotes Promo. Pacotes completos com aéreo, ida e volta e hospedagem.
Jim Chanos publicly shorts Coinbase. Cardano reacts positively to the Plutus update. Fed Chair Jerome Powell wages war against inflation. My name is Ben. Your nightly crypto news wrap-up. Let's get it. Before we jump into the news, let's head on over to Frankie Candles for a market update.
Thanks, Ben. Let's jump in and do a little market watch here. Bitcoin coming in at 42,665, up 3% for the day, 8% in the last 7 days. Very nice to see finally, not moving sideways, getting a little bit of green price action on Bitcoin. Ethereum coming in over $3,000. Finally, we cracked that $3,000. Looking real good for Ethereum. Love to see it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some top movers here. IOTX up 20% in the last 24 hours. ApeCoin up 20%. ICP up 7%. Polkadot up 7%, 13% on the week. Let's take a look at some of the top losers. Thorchain, right? Rune has been going on an absolute tear, so not surprised to see it down 2%, taking a little retrace after its massive pumps. Zcash, kind of the same thing, been performing really well, up 28% for the week. So, typical to see some pullbacks when you see coins going up like this. Same thing with Terra. Avalanche was pumping up 21% for the week. So down about 1% here. Like I said, not too abnormal to see when you see these coins pumping to get a little bit of a retrace, but things are looking good. Some coins I have my eye on, Cardano and XRP. Back to the news.
Basically, if you're a believer that crypto technology will develop in a number of different areas, of course, in brokerage and exchange, but also as a method of payment, as a store of value, in NFTs, etc. If you believe in any one or more of these, Coinbase is positioning itself as that sort of platform play that creates the on-ramps and on-ramps into the crypto economy as the major Western regulated version of that. And in our view, that is an extremely unique, one-of-a-kind asset where you can get in on the ground floor. It's volatile, it's unpredictable in the near term, but if you're taking a multi-year view, and our view, this is one of the most attractive entry points to a very unique story over a multi-year time frame.
Is your price target still 600?
It is, yes.
Despite the statistics, despite the users, despite the hype, despite $797 billion in transaction volume last year, veteran trader Jim Chanos publicly revealed that he's shorting Coinbase. Famous for shorting Enron before their collapse 20 plus years ago, Chanos believes Coinbase is a bubble stock. He doesn't see them turning a profit this year. He told Markets Insider that there are plenty of companies that are in the new economy that have real growth, real cash flows, and real earnings. But there's a lot that are just being sold on stories.
Preciso montar a cadeira.
Coinbase is one that's being sold on a story. It would be one thing if he took this short 6 months ago, because then
Vou montar a cadeira, família.
but to short it now probably isn't the best idea. Crypto is marching towards massive adoption.
Vini, vai lá pra alguém então, cara, que vai interagir com você, mano.
For new traders entering the market. Sure.
Simples.
It's not the biggest crypto exchange, but it is the only one currently trading as a stock on Wall Street. Once more exchanges roll out their IPOs, there will be more of a competitive edge. Further influence
Nossa, esse aplicativo aqui tá
stock market. But that
foda.
doesn't mean Coinbase will continue to fall just because it stands alone. It must have
Aí,
been the
Vini, ó.
memo that Coinbase
Interagi com você, te bloqueei.
and has over 115,000 ecosystem partners. Coinbase has 73 million registered users. The NFT platform is coming down the pipeline this year, and its utility threatens the likes of Western Union.
I think you would need more to short the stock. And so the way I look at Coinbase is I think that those that shorted Tesla 5 years ago that just thought that Tesla should be compared to a GM or Ford really missed the broad, market reception to Tesla. I think Coinbase is similar because it's not just going to be a trading and custodial platform. If so, I think that you could make the case that Jim is saying.
In other news, things are on the up and up for Charles and the gang over at Cardano. After making the headlines last week from the impact they've had this year in DeFi, the Plutus update is now complete, and ADA is up just over 17% in the past 5 days. According to newsbtc.com, operating as a platform, Plutus enables users to leverage a programming environment. In that way, users can build their own smart contract without needing technical skills, maintaining code, and removing the need to use a full development environment. With one more thing on their ambitious 2022 roadmap checked off, they want their users to expect significant growth in the future. If you're in the ADA gang, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications on your friendly ADA channel. Lastly, after the rate hike last week, the first one in 3 years, by the way, Fed Chair Jerome Powell continues to play checkers while inflation is playing chess. You might already know that the interest rate hike last week is expected to be the first of 7 rate hikes this year. In a speech yesterday, Powell outlines that he will take the necessary steps to ensure a return to price stability, even if that means aggressively raising the rates 50 basis points at once instead of the usual 25. Inflation is as high as it's been in 40 years. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Besides 6 more rate hikes coming this year, FOMC is also going to start selling off some of the $9 trillion worth of assets on their balance sheet maybe as soon as May. Although Powell envisions the Ukraine conflict spilling over into the U.S. economy, and with taking the oil and supply chain issues into account, he expects to bring inflation down around 2% in the next 3 years. That's all I got. Be blessed. Way out.
Chart, FYI. So we saw the initial move higher yesterday get faded. We're kind of chopping around now below that 2.4. We were talking about some of these yields, though. Unbelievable moves coming off the Fed last week, obviously, but the banks very, very strong yesterday on that move.
Yeah, sort of remember trying to put these into buckets, like the different banks. You have your traditional lenders, you have the trading side, more so like your Morgan Stanleys or JPMs. Not going to have as big outsized moves that's in that environment, but like your BACs, your Wells, they might do a little bit better when in those types of strong days. Now, I look at this and it's like every chart's going to show the same thing, pretty much. It doesn't matter what you're looking at in the market. You're going to have this consolidation, and anything that's right back to previous. There we go. Yeah, right back to these previous.
Jim Chanos publicly shorts Coinbase. Cardano reacts positively to the Plutus update. Fed Chair Jerome Powell wages war against inflation. My name is Ben. This is your nightly crypto.
Vamos me ligar aqui rapidinho. HV. Não, não é difícil montar cadeira não, pô. Mochila que vira berço. Não é cadeira de balanço? Tenho que ver, Karina. A gente não tentou montar ainda, que eu tava meio zoado ontem. Ainda tô hoje, na verdade, né? Vou montar cadeira, vou montar cadeira. Bebê conforto. É, então, eu tenho que ver, família. Não vi ainda. Eu tirei da caixa, mas não montei. Nossa, que dor no braço. Onde tomei a vacina? Nossa, gente, falar pra vocês, se vocês forem tomar vacina e for AstraZeneca, saiba que, ó, é, pudesse não tomar, né? Deixa eu dar uma organizada aqui pra montar a cadeira. Nossa, mano, ficou saindo meus cílios. Eu sou viciado em ficar puxando cílios, por isso que nasce maior, eu acho. Tá ligando. Sem vergonha. Nenenzinho. O rabo sujo. O rabo tudo sujo, cara. O rabo tudo sujo. Esse cara, viu? Deixa eu dar uma geralzinha aqui. Pra eu... Sim. Peraí. Vem, papai, neném. Vem. Gente do céu. Nossa Senhora. Gente, Pedro. Papai, neném. Dá papai. Dá papai. Agora vamos lá montar essa cadeira, né?
Amor, tô indo lá. Você viu o transversal que deu ali no pé?
Não.
Um bocado, muito.
Vou pegar pra fazer suco.
Não, de cara nem cogito. Não acha nada.
Nem é sua vibe.
Vai lá olhar.
Nem é sua vibe.
O de baixo lá, ó, as coisinhas. Do lado da cana. Não, menina, essa acerola. Que tanga com a cara. Não, muito. Hã? Sabe aquele joguinho do Dick Pista?
É acerola mesmo.
Sabe aquele joguinho do Dick Pista? A gente joga? Lá na gente já é tudo macaco velho já, né, no jogo. Aí quando eu jogava com meus amigos que já sabia, aí falava assim pra eles, acerola e tanga. Aí eu falava.
Tem a ver, né?
Mas só que tudo jogava ao contrário e a semelhança.
É.
Foda, né?
Nada a
Fica aqui
ver.
dali fora.
Tem a ver acerola com
Vamos aqui
titã.
dali fora, pensar o quê? A gente falava, ó, já ria quando a pessoa falava, meu Deus, novato. Acerola. Você foi lá pitanga, era o contrário, a mesma coisa. Eu falava assim, ó, acerola, a pessoa pitanga. Aí teve uma vez que a gente jogou, chamou um amigo nosso pra jogar, né? Nem sabia jogar. Ele sentou e falou pra ele todas as regras. Aí ele sentou na mesa, falaram pra ele no ouvido dele, maisena. Olha, velho. Aí ele chegou pro cara e falou assim, maisena. Ele pensou, botou assim, ó, duro que come. Ó, outra de dica, amor. Saiu do jogo. Lá era assim, tipo,
É lógico.
não aprendeu, tchau. Não, tchau, sabe não. Tchau, tchau. Uma, velho, tchau, não sabe. Ninguém perdoava, velho. Duro que come, ó. Por que você falou, Gustavo? Você não podia. Duro que come. 3 palavras. Eu esqueci. O problema é seu. Tchau. Saía.
Dá até briga.
Oxe, pau rolar. Aí eu não gostava de perder, não. Quem jogasse comigo era pra ganhar. O Léo também era um cão, velho.
Vamos tá aqui na cadeira gamer.
Ó, deixa ele logo pra mim, não.
Só pra não deixar ele aqui, né?
Hã?
Só pra ele não ficar aqui, né?
Não.
Ciúme.
Eu acho que não, chama ele.
Aprendi a chamar ele, amor. Ei, você também não, né? Nossa. Bora montar essa cadeira aí? Olha o outro caçando.
Publicly shorts Coinbase. Cardano reacts positively to the Plutus update. Fed Chair Jerome Powell wages war against inflation. My name is Ben. This is your nightly crypto news wrap up. Let's get it.
Foda que quando a gente olha, eles param, velho. Ó.
Before we jump into the news, let's head on over to Frankie Candles for a market update.
Thanks, Ben. Let's jump in and do a little market watch here. Bitcoin coming in at 42,665.
Tá tramando vários planos.
Up 3% for the day, 8% in the last 7 days. Very nice to see finally, not moving sideways, getting a little bit of green price action on Bitcoin. Ethereum coming in over $3,000. Finally, we cracked that $3,000. Looking real good for Ethereum. Love to see it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some top movers here. IOTX up 20% in the last 24 hours. ApeCoin up 20%. ICP up 7%. Polkadot up 7%, 13% on the week. Let's take a look at some of
Vamos começando. Família, vou começar a montar a cadeira. Tá? Começar a montar a cadeira. Só que a nossa live deu um bugzinho. Eu vou ter que fechar e abrir de novo.